I have a question, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you put a one, please? I got a message saying that my microphone was not connected, but everything says that it is. So, can you hear me? Maybe you can't. Ah, Steffi can hear me. Very good. All right. Good deal. So do you guys want to start now instead of wait until 120, or do you want to wait and start at 120? Hey Justice Jane. Hi Diamond Paw. Hey Brent. Voice for the voiceless. Welcome. So do y'all want to start now or do you want to wait to the 120? Hey Kathy M. Welcome, my friend. Diamond Paw says let's start now. Justice Jane says now. All right, we can start now if you want to. Works for me because I didn't put out a roll it. Okay. All right.
Where is the moment we needed the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. They tell me your blue skies faded to gray. They tell me your passion's gone away. And I don't need no carrying on. 'Cause you had a bad day. You're taking one down. You sing a sad song just to turn it around. You say you don't know. You tell me don't lie. You work on a smile and you go for the ride. You had a bad day. You see what you like. And how does it feel for one more time? You had a bad day. Oh, you had a bad day.
All right. So that is my intro. Some people will think that it is entirely in bad taste. And to those of you who think that it is, I apologize. All right. Okay. So, first of all, let's watch okay. So we were close. I'm actually feeling really proud of the work we did, um, trying to find the location of where they found Suzanne. So I'm really feeling good about it. We actually got very close. Let me see. I have a video clip here. Where did it go? Is that it? I think this might be it. Let's see. Okay, disable. Okay, so excuse me. So we pieced together, let me quiet this. We pieced together through lots and lots of comments on Reddit and Twitter and news reporting and things like that. We kind of pieced together to see where she might have been found. And we actually did isolate it to Highway 17 and then mile marker 113. And I knew that all of the news reports were saying that she was found south of Moffett. And yet 113 is a pretty specific number, right? I mean, that's a pretty specific there were 3 different people that had that information. They believed that the search happened around what they thought was 113. So I said, I'm going to go with these people that are being pretty specific, rather than the bigger group of journalists that were just saying Moffat in general, south of Moffat and whatnot. It's a little misleading because there was some video that was put out, but it turned out that it was just B-roll from the original search 3 years ago. And it turns out that it's actually mile marker 103, and that was uncovered by News 9, where this great group of actual investigative reporters, instead of just saying south of Moffat, they traveled to Moffat and started asking locals, where did you see cars? Did you see police cars? Did it look like there was something going on? And through piecing that together, they identified crime scene tape on road R, and they believe then that this is where she was found. So they found out about the Highway 17 thing. They headed down to Moffat. They said, did you guys see anything? A couple of the locals said, yeah, it was out here. Then they looked around in the area and they found the crime scene tape. So this is the young woman who was part of that team that identified the location. So we're going to listen to that video now.
Are not saying anything today. They will not confirm that. Here's what we do know about this area, Moffat, and the area all around it is vast. It's quiet and it's rural. We're in the San Luis Valley here, just west of the Great Sand Dunes National Park, and about 50 miles away from where Suzanne Morphew lived in Maysville, Colorado, near Salida. It was Mother's Day 2020 when she was last seen. Investigators, family, friends, they all looked for her for a very long time with no luck. And it was somewhat of a coincidence they found her here in Saguache County more than 3 years later. Investigators were actually working on a different case when they found remains later identified as Suzanne's.
Okay, so that's the crime scene tape that they believe this is the location where she was found. And if you look right here, you can see the stop sign up here. So if we're standing on Highway 17, looking down Road R, then it would be to the left of Road R.
A source close to the investigation told 9 News that they discovered skeletal remains, and they were able to positively identify Suzanne through her dental records and her cancer report. And while this case is now more than 3 years old, this is a huge discovery. So in a sense, it's still early in the investigation. We expect more answers will come down the road as time continues to pass in this investigation. Reporting in Saguache County, Jennifer Meckler.
Okay, so this team did an amazing job. I wanted to make sure that I got everything from the beginning of the reporting. Let's listen one more time from here. Okay. Are we gonna go? No.
Some of the folks that we talked to here in Moffat today say it's really discouraging that their community is now tied to this case. They say it is not the first missing person to be found here, just happens to be the latest.
Also, I will say this. A local said that they call this area, how where I live, we call it the Texas Killing Fields. Well, the locals in this area call this particular area the Boneyard.
Some people saw some police activity on Friday night, the same day that investigators found Suzanne's remains. They pointed us to a spot south of town off of a dirt road. Today, we found some crime scene tape here. We've asked investigators, is this in any way related to the Morphew case?
So maybe they were standing back, like not on the road, but back in the brush, filming toward the road, and that's why it looks like the crime scene tape was on the same side as the stop sign, but it's obviously not. So if you were standing on Highway 17 looking down Road R, it would be to the left, it looks like.
Investigators are not saying anything today. They will not confirm that.
All right. And then I wanted to look. Okay, so these are the mountains in the background. And we have to be really careful too, y'all, because they're using a camera lens that flattens the depth. So it makes the background look dramatically closer than what it technically is. So that's important too. All right, so I'm going to stop the sharing here. And then we'll look at this. Okay, so you can see where I've got Google Earth. I've got mile marker 103 here to the right. And then there's the stop sign. And if we look at the mountains behind her as she's reporting, there's the mountains behind them. So there's that pointy mountain, and then the rounded off bigger mountain. Also, you're going to notice you see these three fence corner post here. When you look at that video of her, it actually looks like those three posts are right behind the stop sign here, but it's not. It's the lens that they're using that collapses the depth. So I wanted to kind of point that out too. I guess really and truly the most distinguishing feature is this tree, which is a little bit, well, let's just say once again, Donna, the Reverend Donna Serafina, is sort of vindicated, isn't she? She says in the one of the videos that she did related to Suzanne, she does talk about an unusual and distinctive looking tree. And boom, there it is. The address cannot be found or is unable to receive mail. I got this error sending you my email. Maybe it was not spelled properly in, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, exactly. Voice for the voiceless. So that's, I mean, I'm to the point that I'm turning into a believer. Okay. So here is this is the tree, and she talked about the tree. And so somewhere, and it is so hard to judge depth because they are using that filter, but I think it must be somewhere out around this area is kind of my guess, just judging on how they collapse the background. But this is in fact it. Like, according to the young lady reporting, there's your stop sign that you see behind her, and there is mile marker 103, and there is the pointy mountain with the big rounded mountain, and the three posts that you see that look like they're right there with the stop sign, but it's not. It's just the filter that's being used. Okay. So we did good, didn't we? Like, we were really close. We were very close, y'all. So hey, what'd you bring? Shrimp? Fish. Woo! Fried fish tonight. Okay. So that, I think we are done now with that. Moffett is 2 miles straight ahead as we're looking, 2 miles north. So this makes a lot more sense to me than the 113. You see how deserted this area is? It is flat. There is absolutely nothing interesting out here to attract other people to be walking around and such. And there's still a marker, which is kind of curious, isn't it? It makes you think maybe someone wanted to be able to remember where she was. And so while you choose a place that has zero interest to anyone, no one would have any reason to be out here walking around. I mean, it's just boring, right? You don't have any worry that anybody's going to come just stumble upon it by walking about. And yet, should you ever want to return and visit and pay your respects, you can absolutely find it because of the tree. And Reverend Donna Serafina, she said that there was an unusual looking tree there, that her guides were showing her this strange tree. So I would definitely say, looking at it, I would definitely see how somebody might say it's a strange tree. Do you see any other trees anywhere? Why is there this big, full green tree where everything else is just knee high? And I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? All right. So that's where we are. We were only, like I said, 2 miles, you get to Moffett. And then it was another 6 miles north of Moffett. So we were about 9 miles off, but we definitely had the right road. And, you know, I said it was 1/10 of a mile off of the highway, and that is all fitting. So there you go. All right. So we did well with that. Okay, so let me read a couple of, you have the name. Oh, awesome, Anne. Thank you. All right, I bet the water is not far from that tree. Maybe where the snow runoff is. Yeah. Hey, AJ, how are you doing today? It is a basin, wide, flat, open land of no interest to anyone. All right. Crime Sleuthin says, I love long walks on Google Maps. Divine intervention. Oh, why is my Stream Deck? It keeps opening up. Let's see. Fence posts spaced apart. You can use those for depth. Donna insisted that there was a tree. Address cannot be found. Yeah. Okay. Brent Montgomery says, I found it. Sand dunes also near Gabby. Check. So we're good. All right. Now, the next thing that I want to do, so we know where she was found, and, you know, we're pretty close. All right. Before all of the news reporting started, we were on the money. So it's good. It's nice. It's a good feeling. Okay. Now then, I want to, let me make sure I'm not got something else I want to do up here. Not that. Not that. Done with that one. And I believe the next thing, Denver, no, not going to do James Montoya and Edna Quintana yet. I'm going to do them in a separate video. Okay, so now I know what we're doing. All right, so we're going to look at Pascal's show. So give me a second to get that uploaded. Hold on, present it. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. I am. I'm off, and I am enjoying just being no stress, lazy, nice and quiet and restful. Great day. So I'm doing awesome. If I was doing any better, it would be illegal. All right. So let's listen to the Pascal show. This is Jennifer Coffindaffer. She's previously FBI agent in criminal investigations. And I think I would definitely call her a controversial figure. I think people in the Brian Koberger case, there's there's a group that may not be very happy with her reporting. I personally like her very much. I listen, I follow her on Twitter. I pay attention, to her point of view and whatnot. So I enjoyed this interview on Pascal's show. So let's see what she's got to say about a couple of things related to the discovery of Suzanne Morphew. And what does this mean for old Bear, the great chipmunk killer?
Next year, for sure, I will be there. For sure. But let's talk about this, okay? Now that we know that Suzanne Morphew's remains have been found, can we see Barry back in restraints again? Can we see him back in shackles soon or later? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we will see him back. There is an amazing 133-page probable cause affidavit that's divided up into different sections that outline all the evidence and factual information they have against Barry, even prior to this new finding. It's really amazing. If you look at Brian Koberger's affidavit, it's 18 pages long of facts. If you look at Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer, it's about 30 pages long. This is 133 pages. Actually, 129 if you don't count kind of the beginning and the end. 129 of true reading. And it's amazing everything that is laid out in there. And I think now that they have the body, I think they'll move forward.
I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to putting together when prosecution or when the state wants to put charges on a particular person, a suspect like Barry, and there is no body, it can be done, right? It can be done to make it seem like he's the bad guy. He's the one who's done the thing, but it can be really, really tough. But now that they have a body, could that solidify or expedite the process a little bit and get him behind bars faster?
Well, Pascal, it just takes out that equation of, did she leave of her own volition? Did she decide to go? We know that they had a horrible marriage, that she had already just days prior said, I'm leaving you. It's over. Let's do this amicably. We know that both of them had different affairs and loves on the side. So the defense could have argued, really, she's alive. She just ran away from it all. But now that argument doesn't hold any water.
Okay, so that is very important, right? That is I can see that Pascal is a fellow chipmunk advocate, so I'm very happy to hear about that. Because we are all quite disturbed and worried about the chipmunks that Barry does target, and has openly admitted that he is in fact a chipmunk murderer. So we don't have to be worried about lawsuits for that particular accusation. Yeah, so pretty much, this is a FBI agent, retired. This FBI agent that is saying what we kind of all reacted to, and that was, okay, now we have the body. And this argument of, well, you guys went into my safe in the garage, and what you don't know is that there's $69,000 missing. And Suzanne's fingerprints were all over the cords that made the webcams, the security cameras, a moot point. She obviously disconnected the cameras around the house. And so she disconnected all the cameras. She stole my money. She has a boyfriend named Jeff Libler. And she ran away to Belize to start a new life with her boyfriend. Oh, yeah. And don't forget the web-based accounts that were set up with Jeff Libler's name as the notification next, the emergency contact on the bank account. Gosh, y'all, it's almost like someone was laying out a trail of crumbs, a bit like Hansel and Gretel, correct? And what was it that Suzanne called Barry? Oh, I remember. It wasn't Hansel and Gretel. It was what? Let's see. Y'all say it. What did she call him? Jekyll and Hyde. Correct? So now we have Suzanne, and we know that this crazy, bizarre story that seemed to have been pieced together clue by clue is just fallen to pieces. No, Barry, no one believes that Suzanne stole your $69,000 out of your creepy little safe in your creepy little garage. Nobody believes she stole it. No one believes that she took off with Jeff Libler to South America to start a new life, to abandon her children. No. The whole, well, we had all these security cameras. The previous owners had this great security system, and we had all these different angles, not only inside the house, but outside the house, all the way down the long driveway. And they were all disconnected. Oh, dun, dun, dun. That's right. The security cameras were disconnected. And everybody says, oh my God, I bet you anything that Barry disconnected the security cameras. And guess what? They found all the cords in the house. And when they checked the cords, was it Barry's fingerprints on the cords having disconnected all the cameras? No, it was Suzanne. Suzanne's fingerprints. She's the one that destroyed the evidence that could have been recorded by the cameras. I want you to remember something about Barry Morphew. He would probably tell you this himself were he here. Okay? And that is that in order to be a great hunter, one must be a great tracker. That you have to be able to go through clue by clue by clue to find where the prey is. Like, you want a trophy winning elk, let's say, for example. You want a trophy winning elk. And so you set out as an investigator to learn everything there is to know about elks. Like, what kind of food do elks eat? When do they mate? When is the rut season? How can you identify their foraging when they're not in rut? What do their hooves look like? How do the elk hooves look different from a moose hoof? Right? And there is an incredible amount of investigation, amassing clues before you are ever even minimally educated to track a large animal through their natural habitat and finally find the victim of the murder. Think about it. So he knows how to think backwards. He knows how to look at the goal and walk it backwards step by step, asking himself, what kind of clues along the way would I need in order to find that prize winning, trophy winning elk? Now, what we call generalization of knowledge is that you learn something in one context with one type of skill set or goal in mind, and you get really, really good at it, so it becomes second nature to you. And then you say to yourself, hey, I've learned how to do this in one setting or one environment. I wonder if I could apply it in a different environment, that same skill set, but according to a different environment and a different goal. Like, instead of I want to find a prize winning elk, and so you walk backwards through the process, clue by clue by clue, maybe the goal becomes a bit different, same skill set. And the goal is, gosh, I think I want to kill something. Now, I don't want anybody to know that I'm the one that killed that purple moose. So, how will I set the stage with a set of clues that don't lead to me, but instead we will make Jeff Libler be the guy that killed the purple moose? Or Morgan Gentile, right? And so then you lay out the clues, not that is going to lead to Barry being the one that killed the purple moose, but that you lay out false evidence that looks real. But when you follow those clues, those pieces of evidence left behind, it actually leads you to Jeff Libler being the one who killed the purple moose. Imagine that. Generalization of knowledge. Look it up. So this elaborate tale of stolen money, missing money, bank accounts opened in Suzanne's name, but Jeff Libler's, the telephone point of contact for them. The security cameras that have been dismantled and have Suzanne's fingerprints on the cables. These clues are leading the investigators to believe that Suzanne, in fact, is not dead because they don't have body or blood, but that Suzanne, in fact, ran away. She's a gone girl. There's proof. She's talking to her lover the day she disappears. Or did she? Who was really talking to Jeff Libler that day? Because the photograph of her in the swimsuit, smiling, the one where Barry says, she looks drunk to me. And the investigator said in open court, I don't think she looked drunk. I think she looked happy. That photograph was actually taken in Cancun at a resort. It was not taken at their house in Maysville. So why in the world would Suzanne send that photograph to Jeff Libler saying, oh yeah, I'm just laying out, soaking up some rays, lover Jeff? Or what about the massive invitations to all these men in Indiana to befriend Suzanne on Facebook? This is something she had never done before, ever. But suddenly when she disappears, it looks like she is a man eater. She is on the prowl. Strange, right? Really strange. So the set of circumstances that Barry himself laid out are fantasy. It's fiction. It's not real. That in and of itself, the fact that an alternative explanation for why Suzanne has gone missing the fact that that was engineered by Barry, that it was a fantasy spoken by Barry, if you ask me, that is more evidence that points to his guilt. So I don't know. I don't want to get into fantasy related to, was it a hit job? Did he actually do the dirty deed? Was it a conspiracy to commit murder? Or was it one individual that was in a moment of passion? I don't want to get into all that because we simply don't know. We have absolutely zero evidence for anything that would inform us about the possibility. But we have a lot of evidence that Suzanne did not go on a bike ride and get abducted and killed by a stranger creepo pedophile. We've got a ton of that evidence. She did not burn her diary and her Al-Anon books and then get on her bicycle to go for a nice leisurely drive and just happen to get kidnapped. That did not happen. That did not happen. I'll tell you something else that didn't happen. It didn't happen that she went one way and her helmet went the other way. They didn't find her helmet for a couple of days after she went missing. It's almost like it was an afterthought. It's almost like the person that was laying the trail of crumbs went to a nearby store and said, oh, this is what she looks like. She's wearing a blue shirt, blue bicycling gear, blue bicycle helmet. And then he says, oops, they need to find the bicycle helmet, just to cement the idea that she was abducted. Someone was laying out false evidence, in my opinion. I mean, the night that they went into the house with Barry, the night she went missing, and the investigators, the cops walk in with him and they say, we need clothes that she recently wore, something not touched by other people, something that hasn't been washed, because we need the dogs to be able to get a scent and track her. So he goes in, they go into her closet, and the first thing they pick up is bicycling shorts, padded bicycling shorts that are turquoise in color. So maybe she didn't disappear while she was wearing her bicycling clothes. So it seems that there was reasonable doubt, clues for reasonable doubt that were engineered, contrived. And perhaps that's why there was such a great deal of confusion in the investigation and among the DA's, the prosecutors and the DA's office, maybe because they had some competing information, perhaps. Well, so big ups. Exactly why do you think that? Like, what evidence, what part of the story, what kind of testimony that leads you to the place that Suzanne is abducted and she overdoses on drugs and then she gets dumped? What evidence? Like, why would you say, how do you formulate that idea? Well, here's the story with the DA, Ellen. So again, this is another really, I think it's a moment of divine intervention. Okay. When her body is found in Saguache County, we have a completely new district attorney. And I believe her name is Kate. Oh gosh. Hold on and I'll tell you. I don't want to try to guess off the top of my head. It's Kate something, McDonald or Hmm. Well, looking, hold on. Oh my gosh, I don't care about Trump. Why is it giving me responses that is about Trump? That is bizarre. Saguache County prosecutor. Maybe I should put who is. Who is? Ann Kelly. That's it. Sorry, got it totally wrong. Ann Kelly is the district attorney for the 12th Judicial District. Okay. And so, what that means, why that is, I say divine intervention, is this. This prosecutor has zero connection to Chaffee County, zero connection to Linda Stanley, zero, zero, zero. So this is an opportunity, not only that this gets relitigated, but maybe it gets relitigated by people that are not corrupt and on the take, right? Maybe the real deal happens, right? Okay, big ups. I already asked you. Okay, so I asked big ups. I asked big ups what informs the idea that Suzanne gets abducted and she overdoses on drugs and then she's dumped. I asked him, like, what about the facts and the investigation, eyewitnesses, what would lead you to think that? And so then the response is, well, I look at the characters involved. It's usually simpler than you think. I'm saying someone was paid to abduct her, and then the person who abducted her knew about drug use. She didn't use drugs. So they drugged her and overdosed her while she was being held captive. And in your mind, big ups, this sounds simple. This sounds like a simpler scenario to pay someone that some abductor got paid to take Suzanne, and because Suzanne was a hidden drug user, they overdosed her and then they dropped her 2 miles south of Moffat, a place that's got a population of 108 people. This sounds simpler than her husband was pissed off because she had an affair and so he done her in. Really? I don't know. Big ups. It sure sounds like you might be friends with old Barry. It is wild speculation, voice up for the voiceless. A gunshot wound to the head is even more simple. Thank you, Kelly. Absolutely. So I believe, no, it's more than 5 miles. Isn't it more than 5 miles? It's 2 miles. Okay, so let's add it up. It is 2 miles south of Moffat. Moffat is 1 mile from end to end, so that's 3 miles. And where I thought the location was 6 miles north of Moffat. So that is 6 plus 1 plus 2. So I was 9 miles off. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 miles off, sounding 6. You haven't looked at my coordinates. Let's see. Glad they found her. They'll figure out what happened. I believe the spot the reporter was at with the crime scene tape was a different spot. Well, not Okay, so all right, so this is what I wanted to show from the Pascal show is Jennifer Coppendaffer. Today they had a great interview, and so she does go on to say a lot of, it was a good interview. It's worth the listen. So let me go back to just one more second. Let me get to my the videotape again. News 9. Just 1 second. I'll share it as soon as I get it pulled up here. Just 1 second. Sounding 6. All right, so let's listen. Let's watch this one more time, and I'm going to show you why I think we're right.
Here in Moffat today say it's really discouraging that their community is now tied to this case. They say it is not the first missing person to be found here, just happens to be the latest. Some people saw some police activity on Friday night, the same day that investigators found Suzanne's remains. They pointed us to a spot south of town off of a dirt road. Today, we found some crime scene tape here. We've asked investigators, is this in any way?
Okay, notice the mountains behind her, sounding 6. See the pointed one and then the rounded top one. You see that? Okay. Oh, I closed my I closed my let me pull up my Google Earth. Y'all saw it though. I pointed out the mountains behind the stop sign. Just 1 second. Almost there. It's opening now. As I go through my lives, I close out the windows that I'm finished with. Okay, this looks different. Why is it different? Okay, I think it's this way. Hold on just a second. Okay, so there's Moffat, right? Yeah. Okay, so where's Highway 17? I want to go true north. Okay, so there's Village Grove. Am I sharing so y'all can see what I'm doing? Nope. Okay, let me share it. Hold on. Okay. So okay, that's true north. Okay, so all right, so that's going to be, oh, that's 113. So I got to go down. And there's Moffat. And then I got to go to R. Let me add my layers in. I believe this is R right here. Okay. Come on. Doesn't want to turn on, does it? All right. Now then, here's here's the stop sign right here. Here's the tree. Here's the stop sign. So the reporter is standing over here somewhere, right? And if we're looking behind her, we're going to be looking right here. And so, this says mile marker 103. And so if we zoom in, now you can see the mountains that are directly behind her, right? Sounding 6, is that okay? What's your reaction now, Sounding 6? I don't think I know anyone in Colorado at all. Just happy to see this case is going to be figured out. Me too, Sounding 6. So no, she is not a drug user. Absolutely not. Okay, so 37.87, 105.89. I wish he would respond. Mine matches up much better. So you think that the camera crew was wrong? $37 and 105. Well, aren't we right there where your coordinates are? 30. Let's see. 37.87 and then minus 105.89. 37.87, 105.89. 37.57 here. 105. So we're off about 40 points. Yeah, so much deeper, right? All right, let me zoom out a little bit so it's not going to take quite so long to get there. Got to get to 89. Whew, I got a long way to go. I don't know if I can put coordinates into Google Earth. I'm sure I could. No. It's going to take a long time. So you think it's all the way back over here? Probably right there. Okay, 105.58. Okay, so somewhere, you're looking at somewhere right here. Is that originally 113? So you think they went down double X and then drove over? Like maybe this house? I mean, well, that's hay. This looks like hay bales. I don't know. I tell you what, I already looked at your spot. You haven't looked at mine. I'm looking right now. So if I take the coordinates, I can just paste it into the search bar. Okay. It won't let me. That's the problem. Okay, so let me take a picture. Hold on. One way or the other, there's more ways to skin a cat. We're going to skin this cat, okay? So let me go to my Google Earth. And so you said I can put my coordinate, I can just put my coordinates in. Okay. So it is 37.876 43657768220 minus. All right. Yep. I see it. But um but the mountains don't match. Or do they? Hold on. No, the mountains don't match. That's kind of freaky. That looks like a person standing right there. Um, well, I get your point. I get your point. Let me see what you guys are saying. Mountains match the dip and flat. The stop sign, and I agree. Sounding sixes on the stop sign in the fence post. Oh my goodness, you must have really been. Why did Barry Morphew dispose of the body that way? He bragged to one of his daughter's boyfriends that he could get rid of a body and nobody could find it. Remember, the road is slightly downhill from the main road. No tree. Okay. I'm gonna re-watch. I hope you guys can still hear me. The people mowing the grass are here. Thank goodness, too, because the mosquitoes are killing us. All right, let's rewatch this and look at what's behind the
Some of the
lady.
folks that we talked to here in Moffat today say it's really discouraging that their community is now tied to this case. They say it is not the first missing person to be found here, just happens to be the
Okay, y'all,
latest.
look at the fence post. Okay, so there's 3 and there's 2. Okay, so that's pretty close. But the background, you can see some snow. She filmed in 2 different locations,
Some
I
people
think,
saw
right?
some police activity on Friday night, the same day that investigators found Suzanne's remains. They pointed us to a spot south of town off of a dirt road. Today, we found some crime scene tape here.
Oh, no, I was looking at the edge. Okay.
We've asked investigators, is this in any way?
Oh, maybe right here. No, she would have been on. Maybe is this what you're talking about? 6s? If only the Google man could drive down the road. I know, more than one occasion, sounding 6, I really wish the Google guy would go down a dirt road. Absolutely. Maybe that's the mountains. It does sort of It's very flat. I don't know. I feel and there's no tree here.
related to the Morphew case. Investigators are not saying anything today. They will not confirm that. Here's what we do know about this area, Moffett, and the area all around it is vast. It's quiet and it's rural. We're in the San Luis Valley here, just west of the Great Sand Dunes National Park, and about 50 miles away from where Suzanne Morphew lived in Maysville, Colorado, near Salida. It was Mother's Day 2020 when she was last seen. Investigators, family, friends, they all looked for her for a very long time with no luck. And it was somewhat of a coincidence they found her here in Saguache County more than 3 years later. Investigators were actually working on a different case when they found remains later identified as Suzanne's. A source close to the investigation told 9 News that they discovered skeletal remains, and they were able to positively identify Suzanne through her dental records and her cancer report. And while this case is now more than 3 years old, this is a huge discovery. So in a sense, it's still early in the investigation. We expect more answers will come down the road as time continues to pass in this investigation. Reporting in Saguache County, Jennifer.
Okay, but there's no tree.
Talk to here in Moffett today say it's really discouraging that their community is now tied to
But
this
I
case.
agree with the
They say it is
post. You're exactly
not the first
right
missing
about the
person to be
post.
found here. Just happens to be the latest. Some people saw some police activity on Friday night, the same day that investigators found Suzanne's remains. They pointed us to a spot south of town off of a dirt road. Today, we found some crime scene tape here. We've asked investigators, is this in any way related? They pointed us to a spot south of town off of a dirt road. Today, we found some crime scene tape here. We've asked investigators, is this in any way related to the Morphew case? Investigators say it's really discouraging that their community is now tied to this case. They say it is not the first missing person to be found here, just happens to be the latest. Some people saw some police activity on Friday night, the same day that investigators found Suzanne's remains. They pointed us to a spot south of town off of a dirt road. Today, we found some crime scene tape here. We've asked investigators, is this in any way related to the Morphew case?
And then this is kind of distinctive. Let's see. I don't know. I don't guess that it really matters other than just curiosity, right? But, I can see, this is pointed here and then sort of flattened here. What mile marker are we at? Mile marker 97. So that's even further south. That's even further south. I don't know. I'll keep no marker out there, is there? I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some thinking on it. I'm gonna have to do some thinking on it. Moffett, Colorado is huge for elk hunting. She said she does say west of the dunes. So both your location and my location, they're only a couple of miles apart, right? They're still along Highway 17. So another thing I want to say about the crime scene tape that we must remember, okay, we have to. It is that in July they were searching for Edna Quintana, and they ended up finding the body of a missing is it Lakeview man or Lakeland man in Denver. James Montoya was found, and in this area. So we have to be really careful too that this is not, maybe that was the location of James Montoya body, or maybe some kids got crime scene tape and moved it. I mean, there could be a lot of different explanations, but there's James Montoya went missing. There is Crystal Reisinger has been missing. There's a lady named Laura. I can't remember her last name. I'm taking notes on that. So the people in town call this the boneyard. Yeah, there's James Montoya, Suzanne Morphew, Edna Quintana is still missing. Crystal Reisinger has never been found, but she went missing in the same area, Crestone. At the edge of town, that's a weird case. I've already done a couple of videos on it, but it's a weird case. So, all right. The news crew could have put the tape there. Yeah, exactly. Sounding six. You're 100% right. Maybe, perhaps they filmed, but then they moved to a different location to say this is, where we found it. Maybe the cops said, we don't want people knowing where it is. We don't want to attract a lot of attention, have a lot of people out there. So we'll show you where it is, but try to be discreet. So there's also that problem, right? Because are you sounding six? Are you in that area? Like, is Colorado your home, or you're just sort of like the rest of us? Because I'm going to tell you, two people that are from this area, they were pretty specific about mile marker 113, but I think they got that. I think they meant 103. Yeah, I am too, sounding six. They don't want people out there. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, for sure. South Carolina. Yeah, aren't we all curious Georges? Yeah. So anyway, so we at least, even the areas that people may disagree a little bit with, we're still pretty close, right? I'm in Colorado and I'm familiar with this area, although not at the mile marker level.
Some of the folks that we talked to here in Moffat
Let me
today say it's
stop
really
my,
discouraging that their community is now tied to this case. They say it is not the first missing person to be found.
okay. So True Crime Curator, you know, if you go out there, it might be interesting to sort of look at these three different locations: mile marker 97, mile marker 103, and then mile marker 113. It seems like mile marker 103, the background fits perfectly, really, just about. But mile marker 97 seems to really match in terms of the stop sign. But the original mile marker that I was given was 113. They said 2 bodies were found, Jules. Okay, so this is confusing. Okay, so there were 2 bodies, 2 women were found around the same time, but it was over I think if I remember correctly, it was southeast of Colorado Springs. They have recently arrested a guy in Kansas that they believe are the that is responsible for the deaths of these 2 women in southeast Colorado. That is different from Saguache County, that is south of Maysville and Salida, where Edna Quintana went missing May the 1st or May the 6th. She went missing, and so now they are trying to find her. And in the process of looking for her, in July, they located a man. His name is James Montoya. He'd been missing for about 6 months from Denver. And now in that same general, his body was found closer up to the hills. And then this particular situation, you know, Suzanne was found. In Kiowa County, Colorado, they were Amy and Linda. Thank you so much, Butterfly Dana. Absolutely. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. And so they just arrested a guy, right? That they found him in Colorado. I don't know how many bodies are out there sounding 6. It's pretty grim. And the locals do say that they call it the boneyard. Just like here where I live, there's an area not, you know, a few miles down the road from here. They call it the killing fields. Yeah. Yeah, possibly big ups. When I went looking in Google, I heard many bodies were there. So it'll be interesting to kind of see, you know. Absolutely, Lisa. Absolutely. But I still, if we get back to, if we go all the way back to Barry Morphew, which is where we started, you cannot ignore the burned books. You cannot ignore his narrative of, well, look, I got money missing. There's online bank accounts. She disconnected the cameras. She's a gone girl. He intentionally set that up. Why? If he had no idea what happened to her, if he had no idea where she ended up, then why would he feel the need to construct a story that is just fictional? I've driven through Colorado a few times, went to Denver, delivered a load to one of the prisons in Pueblo over 10 years ago. Beautiful scenery out there. It is lovely. Absolutely. Absolutely lovely. Yes, thank you, Butterfly Dana. So Linda and Amy went missing, and Philip Lawrence was arrested just a few days ago in Emporia, Kansas for their murders. Oh, Bleachhead Barry, right? Bleachhead Barry. I don't know why he's such a caricature, isn't he? Like, for some reason, it's easy to sort of, I don't want to say make jokes about, but I don't know, maybe because he's so audacious, maybe. But for, somehow we all have the same experience where the guy's concerned. Let's see, Iris Eaton has put out May 9th and May 10th, Barry's vehicle is not in Moffat area. But if Suzanne was killed on May the 8th, what about that, Iris? Yes, Iris, you lovely flower. What about the 8th? And they didn't get telematics on Suzanne's car. And what about the vehicles the girls drove? What about other work vehicles? Look, we're the true crime community, Iris. Don't talk to us like we hadn't thought this thing out. Utah's nice as well. The scenery changes every 20 miles, so it's so breathtaking. Yeah, but did you look under the weird tree? there you go. Barry definitely seems to get winded. Oh gosh, cinnamon. All right. Hey, Shelby, how are you? There's an irrigation pond not far away. Yeah, that's another question, right? Absolutely. All right. So we got close, people. And then News 9 came up and located the exact location. And now we're trying to figure out, are we at mile marker 97 or are we at mile marker 103? And we may never know. But what we do know is that we were damn close. We're somewhere in a 9-mile stretch on Highway 17.
Where is the moment we needed the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. They tell me your blue skies fade to gray. They tell me your passion's gone away. And I don't